Alright, yeah. My teachers always told me I'd never amount to nothing, and they may have been right. That's why I jump on the mic every night. 'Cause when I jump on the mic, that's how I know that I'ma be alright. Well, I'ma be alright.
No, 2 weeks of on to another episode. Matthew, 11-week term, halfway through.
Feels like it's the end of the term.
Term 2 is always the worst as well, but when you get that 11 weeks instead of 10 weeks, like for the people listening who don't, understand or aren't teachers, like that extra week in term 2, you're like, this is ridiculous.
And term 1 went so quick.
And term 1, you're coming off of 6 weeks holidays or 5 weeks holidays as well. So you bounce around energy for the first 5 or 6 weeks.
So are the kids.
So much energy. And then you're just hanging on for 3 weeks. Where you tried term 2 coming off 2 weeks holidays. And then you're like, no, I've got like 2 weeks of energy in me.
Yeah.
And then it's just like...
There's 9 more weeks.
Just white knuckling it to the end of the days. Yeah, it's and then, the flu season comes in, everyone's getting sick and stuff.
Yeah. And the kids are, they're all ratty. They're all feral. Because they're sick. Like my kids have been, I reckon they've been sick. One of them have been sick every week.
Yeah.
So like, one's sick for a week, then they get good. Then another one will get sick. Then they'll be sick for a week. And I think now it's our turn, the adults' turn.
I was holding my son the other day, and then he's 7 months now, sneezed right in my face. And I was like, going to get sick.
Worst.
2 days later, I was like, yeah, got sick.
Worst. But I'll take the sneeze over when they vomit in your face.
Absolutely. Mate, just think out left field here. 3 superpowers. I want to give you 3 superpowers, and I want you to name what the downfall of each of them would be.
All right.
So 3 superpowers. And the downfall of each of what it is. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. Invisibility. What's some bad things about it?
Well, unless you can fly, it doesn't really work. You can still get hit by cars. I don't think invisibility would be as cool as you would think.
Well, is it the ability to turn it on and off when you want? Or you're just invisible to the end of days?
But even if you're invisible, are your clothes invisible?
Yeah, whole thing. You're just walking around. No
so
one can see
what happens if you're holding like a sandwich? You're eating a sandwich. Do they see the sandwich?
Yeah, and if they could, so you have to be so you're hiding anyway, so you don't look weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon there'd be, you'd have to be able to turn it on and off.
X-ray vision.
I don't think that one would be that crash hot.
The reason I say this, these are when I hear stuff about superpowers, these 3 are what come up most, and I'm like, yeah, but even X-ray vision, like, do you get to choose who, like, what you see, or is it just constantly on? Because I imagine there's some things out there you don't want to be seeing, and you just flick that way, you're like, whoa, okay.
But also, like, if you're sitting here and you're trying to, I don't know, look at a phone, are you seeing all the way through it? Like, can you turn it on and off? Is it that easy? Or do you always, that sounds like a lot of cognitive capacity that you'd have to constantly run in the background and make sure you're not looking through stuff that you need to read.
And then you crash by 11 a.m. each day.
Yeah, you're driving down the road and then all of a sudden...
See 3 Ks in front.
Yeah, like you don't see the car in front of you because you forgot to turn off your X-ray vision and you drive up the back of another car.
Try and talk to your mate next to you and you see his house 7 Ks away. All right, last one. Ability to read minds.
Again, if you can turn it off like Professor X, that'll be all right. Because, then he can also control people's thoughts and things.
Yeah.
But if
just
you're
endless
just...
loop.
If you get one of those neural link things, you're just always constantly bombarded with information. That would be horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is maybe superpowers, none of them are good.
Oh, I reckon that'd be a good one.
So this episode, I want to focus out how to re-engage students who have checked out. So how to re-engage students that have backed up. Have checked out, sorry. So, what are the key characteristics of disengaged students?
Well, again, it depends on the kid, some of them just blatantly refuse to go to class. So they automatically checked out. They didn't even get to the classroom and check out of.
Yep.
And you have kids who they sit in class and they don't do anything. They just head on hand, They might do nothing. They might just be on their phone. They don't care if they get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be at school anyway.
Yeah.
It's...
Is the most common starting place for a student being disengaged or checked out, academic failure, being out of
Success. I think it all starts there. I think that if you start to have a pattern of I try really hard, I listen, I'd work, and I
I'm
don't
going
get
nowhere.
success,
Yeah.
then over time, anyone at any age will be, you know what, I'm out. I'm putting in so much effort and I'm getting nowhere. I'm just going to save myself the hassle and I'm not going to try because I'm exhausted, I'm upset from trying so hard and not getting anywhere.
It is pretty brutal, isn't it, to go, it's early term 1 and as a student I'm already behind.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 more terms to go
Yep.
every
And
day on most days.
you've got if you're in high school, you've got midterm assessments, you've got, homework and things like that to catch up on if you've got a test coming up. Like if you can't do the classwork, it's only going to get harder and you're going to get more and more disengaged because it's just, I'm out, I'm done.
Which leads me to the next point we were talking about earlier. An hour is a long time, and an hour is a long time these days. And I think what society is missing in the classrooms, or what they're not seeing, is that it's hard to keep attention for more than 5-10 minutes of students these days. And you've got an hour lesson. Students are going, well, I get, as you've said before in episodes, I'm getting constant stimulus, I'm getting constant information in minute bursts. Yet my teacher's here taking 20 minutes to deliver something that could have been done 30 seconds online. I mean, that's probably going to be disheartening as well. So, I mean, it's probably, and as, it's hard to, because AI is evolving so quickly and everything, but there needs to be a change in teaching somehow.
There does, but you also have to look at like the kids that are on their phones all the time or they're disengaged is because they don't see the relevance in what you're learning. Because in some cases, I'm not going to take away from science. It's very important science. Maths is very important. HAS is they're all very important. But the kids are like, this is not going to help me in a job. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a rapper. I don't need to know what happened in 18 BC. And then automatically
the ratios of trigonometry in a triangle.
Yeah, like if you're going to be a builder or you're going to be an engineer or something like that, those things are very important. But if you think that your job is going to be, I'm just going to go get a job at Super A and then, see where my job takes me.
You were probably similar when we were in high school. If you didn't like a subject and you didn't see the relevance, in the back of your mind, you're like, well, at least I need to know something. Because university had more of a prevalence then, whereas now it's not so much. You're like, I'm just going to at least learn what I need to get good enough grades to get into university and go there to get a better life. Whereas now there's so many options outside of that.
And you've also got, I look at the pathway that I got into uni, so you could do a year of TAFE, and I'm from New South Wales, so then you get a UAI of 84.
That's a direct transfer
into uni.
Yeah.
So then, but if you went to your local uni, to make sure that they supported local education, you got 5 extra marks. So if and I didn't really do much in year 12 to be fair, but I got a higher UAI than the majority of people that graduated my year because I went an alternate pathway.
Yeah. Which it seems there's more programs at high school these days to do that. Not backdoor roads into university, but the old days of just sitting your final exams and being ranked at a national level or a state level. That's not as important these days.
No, and you've also got all those there's a lot of different pathways now for, you got care schools, you got smaller schools, smaller environments where the kids who don't manage in mainstream classes with 34 kids and, constant, they get to go to these small care schools where they have
better teacher support.
Yeah, but they're also doing hands-on tasks and everything they do eventuates to their goal of being a carpenter or being a truck driver on the mines or like everything they do. Yes, they learn literacy skills and numeracy skills for life. You can't get away from those. But everything chips away at a common goal. So it makes sense for them.
Yeah, and when you boil it down, is what education should be.
Yeah.
Giving you skills to get you a better life and to sort of help you focus on what you want to do outside of school. All right, so back to relationships. Relationships
Always.
matter. Always relationships. Always a common theme, isn't it? You probably experienced this as well. Whatever reason is, we work well. I would say we work well with disengaged students. But I find it, and there can be a student that just has doesn't like any class, has issues with all teachers, but just by giving them a bit of confidence and showing that you care. Like I've had students that have hated school come to school and go, you're not on them straight away. Like you're firm, but whatever, firm but fair, keep saying it.
Yep.
But you show them that it's not just about, just challenge yourself and go, this might not make sense to you right now, might have not relevance and everything, but just show to yourself that you can do it. It's something hard. And then you can build that confidence and hopefully it goes from there. And I think like it's, without trying to be cliched about it, you can get a lot out of students by sort of following that format and just having those strong relationships, showing that you care and then showing that it's not just all academic superpowers.
No.
Like there's other ways to succeed as well.
And it's those kids who come in, they're like, oh, I've got to listen to the teacher again. They're going to talk too much. But if that teacher goes, oh, you got new shoes today?
Yeah.
Teacher noticed I've got new shoes. That means they actually know me. They've noticed something about me. And it just gets that little bit of trust going. They might not love you and do everything for you, but you're just chipping away so then they eventually go, you know what? This person's intentions for me. They're not trying to make me fail. They're going to reward my small success of me doing 2 questions on my own.
Which might not seem like much, but to them and students that might miss a heap of school,
It's huge.
can do that. I think a lot of teachers gloss over that. Not gloss over, but don't, because there's so much happening in teaching, don't necessarily focus on that. Those small positive interactions are massive.
They're so big. So you look at the teachers that have the not the best success, but the least amount of issues behaviourally in their class. They're still going to have them in there. There's no perfect teacher that has no issues, but what they do is they notice a little bit about, they might walk through the playground at recess and lunch and say hey to that student who, constantly calls out or yells or whatever, they're just building that relationship with them. They're building that little bit by little bit. So when they go, you know what, Miles, I need you to try really hard today. You're so close to getting this. You just need to try a little bit harder. They're going to go, you know what? I think he's saying that because he actually believes I can do that. Not just because he needs the data to say that his job's been done properly. Yeah.
And I try to, especially with the harder classes, I try to lead with that coming up to assessments. Go, look, I always want to do your best, but I don't care if you get 90% or 4%. If you get 4%, just make sure you get more than that next assessment. It might be 5, it might be 50, it might be whatever, but just those small increments. And then the same thing, if you get 90, don't get complacent. Try to obviously improve as you go as well. And I think, whatever. And there's a lot of kids in the class and teachers are getting more and more stuff to do. But I think it's, if you can find individual connection points with students and build that trust, that's going to be huge.
It's such an undervalued tool. People always think that having a well-structured classroom, you're going to stop behaviour. It might. I doubt, if you're having all the curriculum knowledge in the world, it's going to stop because any question they ask me, I'm going to be able to answer. But it doesn't build trust in with all kids don't need that. Some kids will just come in, do their work, go home, go to the next class, do the same thing, whatever they've got to do. Some kids will try that hard in your class that they go home because they're cognitively done. But they try that hard in your class because they know that you're going to give them support along the way. You might chunk tasks. You might walk past and go, hey, Miles, you know what the answer's, 4 plus 4 is 8.
Well, I think you're right. Let's drill down a bit further. I think curriculum or having a curriculum targeted to that student and where they're at is massive. I think that's the first key point. Yeah. I think once you have, and a lot of it's, so in high school you got an Australian curriculum. If I've got a year 8 class, and they might say there's half the class might be below a C grade standard. Then you got students, half of them again, so a quarter of the class is working in E grade standard. There's no point those E grade students going through and just continuing on for the rest of the year. So what you need to do is then find a way to take them off curriculum, which then requires more documentation and stuff. But by having that, it just gives those students something to do. Yes, a reason to put work in.
Yeah. Because they get success.
Yeah, but the downfall of that is also if can
More
require
paperwork.
more paperwork. And if teachers aren't, schools aren't set that up already, it just falls back on the same people.
And there are some schools that are making good headway, good ground, good breakthrough ideas where they're taking each year level for mesh, your maths, English, science and HAS.
Yeah.
They have like a enrichment class or a focus class or a engagement class or whatever it is. But those children who are struggling with at year level work,
Yeah.
they're not made to do work that's 3 or 4 years below their year level in class with their peers. They go to a class that is full of other children who are working at, or young people, working at that same level. So everyone has the same, not so much issues with learning, but more they all have the same academic knowledge. So you're in maths, you're not trying to learn, x plus y squared with all that stuff when they can't do 5 times 5. So they're focusing on their times tables. They're focusing on the math that they need to be functional in society.
So streaming, I don't know where I sit with it. I keep going back and forth. So I used to be a believer that in lower school, so years 7 to 10 high school, mixed ability class. I think you need like an extension class for students looking to pursue university pathway, because the math, especially in year 9 and 10, does have a significant jump and go quite quick. But the rest of it was just mixed ability. But then you got students who are far behind, they get disengaged and stuff. So then you got to find a way to take those students off. Now the engagement classes, I was big as well, but then you need the right teacher in there because you get a lot of behaviour kids as well. And you put those classes need to be smaller and there needs to be structure. So I don't know what the answer is, but I think as long as you're trying to do something to help these students, that's the key point.
And my issue with streaming is that even with teenagers, just like kids in primary school, they need a role model. So if you're in a classroom that has no clear positive role model, no pro-social peers,
as a teacher, as a student,
then you're going to go, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing but if you're in a class that has
the learning environment set up.
Yeah, and you've also got, like the cool kid who's getting a C, you see him trying and he just gets a C, you're more likely to try to be like that cool kid because he's not getting A's or B's. But the majority of the kids in all of those enrichment classes, focus classes, have no peer role model in the class. They might have them elsewhere, but they don't have them there in the class.
So what's the motivation to do the work, and then just becomes almost get more disengaged,
yeah,
and then more of those students
and then
around.
You get the teacher who goes, I reckon that'll be great, I could do that.
And they quit.
Yeah, because it's
3 weeks in.
It's not easy. Like you take all the kids that don't want to go to school, that are so far behind academically they can't be in their year level class.
Yeah.
They've got entrenched behaviours of I'd rather be naughty than seen as dumb or stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
And you put them all in the one class.
Yeah. 18 years teaching, I always taught difficult schools. The hardest class I had was a year 7 engagement class. And there was only 12 of them in there, but it was just because there's so much energy. They were still young. And it's still, year 7 was like second year in high school, but it was just hardcore. I was at a point in my career as well. I was like 6 or 7 years in. So I thought I knew everything, had too much pride to change anything. But I was like, this is just, whereas now I look back and go, I could have done more.
But the good thing about those enrichment classes, engagement classes, is if they have strong admin driving the program, then you have a strong teacher and support staff in that program. You can tailor it to do the primary school model where the teacher works through all the questions on the board.
Yeah.
Like where in high school, it doesn't really happen like that. Some teachers may work through the first 2 or 3 questions and then you're on your own to go with the rest. That's cool for the kids who can do that. These kids can't. So, those environments need to have
lots of scaffolding.
Yeah.
Lots of structure.
And no offense to high school teachers, obviously, scaffolding isn't really a strong skill.
No.
There are some high school teachers that are absolutely amazing. They scaffold all the way through.
But I still think, I still think that math teaching is just, here's a concept, now do 50 questions, which is how I was getting taught when I was in high school in the 2000s.
Yep.
And then you see it now, you're like, it just can't be done like that anymore. Like, and even for the better ability kids, there needs to be the stop and start, the checking for
Do a
feedback.
brain break, get up and have a dance.
Other way, down.
But yeah, like that's the thing.
Yeah, let's go with this. Let's go with motivation is overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just stop there. Cool. Yeah, no, look, I think I've talked about it before. When I was in my younger days of teaching, I was all about just bringing the energy to the class. And I had to be the one to, even to this day, I'm probably still one of the, if not the hardest working one in the room, because you try to role model that behaviour, which can get frustrating. So I think you got to be careful of relying on motivation too much. And we talked about it before. I think it falls back on your structures and your routines. And, probably with the amount of technology you can do these days, especially for maths and having work solutions and stuff.
Yep.
I think that's all important.
And, like if you think about it, like we get paid to go to work, yeah? So our motivation is financial because we get paid to be there. Like I love being a teacher and, like...
You do it to change lives, Matthew.
Oh, I do.
You do.
Shape the minds of tomorrow's leaders and innovators. But, like these kids, there's no real motivation for them to be at school. They come to school... They find school hard. They don't want to be there. It's easy to go on TikTok and scroll 9,000 videos in 8 minutes because they don't have an attention span to listen to someone talk. So if you can chunk tasks and you break up your lesson, because like you said before, they're an hour long. It's a long time.
It's too much.
Like an hour long staff meeting, I'm like...
But and you can see it, like students, and they keep saying the students don't know how to deal with boredom.
No,
like if I have students finish a test early, like even if the word search is there, to not disrupt the others and stay quiet for a chunk of time is seems like the hardest thing they can do in life
and
these days.
if you think about it, the teenagers that are in high schools now, they are probably the first wave of kids that have had, they are the first wave of kids that had devices their entire life. They've had YouTube at their fingertips. They've had all that stuff. So they're constantly used to bright lights, differing volume levels, different pitches, like to engage them.
And then they come to school, today we're going to do page 173.
Good luck getting the motivation to do that, and if you can just chunk it, make it fun, like that's how you're going to get them to be motivated, because they can be motivated for 4 minutes. 5 minutes, and then they get a break. Then they can be motivated again for 4 or 5 minutes. Have another break.
Yeah,
and eventually build that stamina, build that ability to be bored.
Which is funny because I think I'm at the point in my teaching career now with the young people coming through and go, well, back in my day, and I'm like, yeah, well, back in my day, I look at this now and go, this is ridiculous. But times have changed so much that there needs to be that adapting to the changes. In society.
Absolutely.
What do teachers need to avoid? Public embarrassment is a massive one.
Oh, yeah, no, don't.
But like even as a common sense, it's still, I'm surprised as dealing with teachers, like as a common sense point of view, I'm like, would you like to be talked to as a human being? Like maybe someone comes up to you, how would you deal with it? Don't like power imbalance here. No. And students can provoke you and stuff as well, but the public embarrassment is not going to get anyone any further.
I always say to the teachers I work with and stuff, treat the children or the students, the young adult, whatever term you want to use, how you would want your children to be taught.
Yeah.
Treat them how you wish you were taught in school. Because if you're going to come in and I know from a personal level, if someone comes in and starts yelling and berating at me, I guarantee I'm going to win.
Yeah, you just dig in, don't you? Now this is all the game is now. And the other thing is I'm in your class for the rest of the year as well.
Yep.
So it's just going to be long, yeah.
And, I'm going to knuckle down. And I'm no different than all these other teenagers that just be nice. Like, I don't understand why more people just aren't nice.
Yeah, what I can have a problem with students, obviously like yourself, we're big on respect. I can find with students, if I'm dealing, I always make sure I'm very respectful to role model that within reason. If a student disrespects me, I'm quick to point it out and go, hold on, this is not me bending over backwards, just doing it unconditionally. Yeah. Like, there's got to be a level of accountability here from you as well. But yeah, as a teacher, avoid public embarrassment.
Oh, and the power struggles. Yeah. Now
going straight to power struggles.
Yeah, you're like, I get it. It's your classroom. You want to be the one in control. You need to make sure that You keep the other 25, 32 kids, however many kids are in your class, on track. But if you engage in a power struggle with someone who loves to engage in power struggles, as a teacher, you will always lose.
And you got the audience there as well looking at you. Like, you better be the best performer that's been there.
Because that student will swear at you. They will say things that are mean. They will do whatever they can to get this audience to laugh and to make you look like a fool. And you can't, as a teacher, you can't really say much back.
Yeah, and as soon as they get you, they know they got you. They've got you on string for the rest of the year as well.
Yep. So if they're talking too loudly or whatever, that's cool. Like, oh, do you want everyone to hear your conversation, mate? So just keep it down. Talk to the person next to you. One
of the best pieces of advice I got from a PD my first couple of years teaching was like, just if any of those situations, just talk lower. And I still use it to the day. So if a student fires up, I'm like, no, that's fine. And the more calm you are. The students get frustrated at first, but I'm like, I'm not playing like mind games with you here. Like, it's just, this is what we're doing, staying calm. I started the other day, I was dealing with a year 7 student, and it's all that, oh, what do you mean? Oh? And then I had to bite down my tongue and go, but I'm like, this is where we are now. Like, just be respectful, and now we're here. And after like a 15 minutes of going back and forth, and I was around the office doing stuff, the student came good. And I was like, because it was just that consistency.
It's a long night, Miles. Sorry.
Glad to see I'm inspiring with my conversation.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, absolutely. No, but that's it. Like, the thing is, if you hold a firm boundary, it needs to be firm. It can't be unfair in the eyes of everyone. It can't be not met halfway. Like, if you have a boundary, you also need to stick to it as well. If you speak softly, if you hold that boundary, if you have that rapport with them, or you say, look, mate, I know this feels unfair. You know what? Let me just finish doing what we're doing, and then we can just duck outside and we can, have a chat, or, or you know what? Come and see me at recess time if you want. No detention, like, you're free to go play, but just come and we can have a chat so this doesn't happen again, because it's not fun for either of us.
Yeah, I think admitting your mistakes as well. Like, I'm still fascinated with students freak out. Like, they don't freak out, but like, I go, that was my fault there. I misunderstood that. They're like, well, hold on, what game are you playing here? I'm like, no, it's probably my misunderstanding of this situation that created it here. But I mean, that's the situation we're here now. So, and the students get that. And
like, owning up to those mistakes. Like, I do it all the time. Now, I taught pre-primary for a very long time. You would think that I'd be able to spell some of those pre-primary words, but I would make mistakes, right on the board, and I look around and I'll be like, what word am I writing? I write the wrong one. And I'll be like, you know what, guys? I made a mistake. Let me just rub that off.
Yeah.
Because it's teaching the students that
mistakes are allowed.
Mistakes are mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, everyone. You make 20 mistakes before you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Who just acknowledge it, move on. When students see that you're an actual human, they're more likely to like you anyway.
So there you go, team. Just a few quick strategies, actions, routines to deal with disengaged students. Look, sometimes the first step in re-engaging students, simply making them believe they still belong in the room. So if you can get that down as a fundamental, you can build on that.
Yeah, and being a teacher at the front, you don't have all the solutions.
No.
You don't have all the answers. If something's happening and you don't understand what's going on with that student, don't call them out in public.
Don't do it.
Don't belittle them.
Don't do it.
Work on that rapport.